Which standards do medical devices with AI need to comply with, and which can be recommended?
From my side, as Christian kind of mentioned, this is a very much a sort of pick 'em and choose 'em listing. In terms of the medical device side of things, 13485 is going to be your best thing for a quality system to develop the software under. There is obviously the equivalence with the FDA QSR system and everything else that goes on there. The problem with any kind of, say, FDA guidance or international standard or anything like that is that technically you don't have to comply with them. You can comply with them, it can be recommended to comply with them, but you can put a product on the market without a medical device certificate for 13485, for example. So in terms of what you should do for AI, showing compliance to IEC 62304 is a very good one for the development of the software. However, it's also a very, very weak standard. They were going to be doing a reissue of that standard. I believe there was a draft out earlier this year or late last year, and they withdrew the draft straight away because it wasn't suitable for purpose. So we're actually working off of 62304, which is 2015. So that's 8 years out of date already. And if you have a look at 62304, it actually conflicts with some of the requirements for 13485. So you end up having a set of information for 13485 over here and another set for 62304 over here. So that's a big problem. 14971 is a very important one to have, but that's just a process for evaluating your risk, not how to do the risk in terms of the AI software. As Christian mentioned, the 249 or 34971, the proposal one for advice for AI, you can't really demonstrate conformance to that because it's only really a kind of, these are some examples to look at. So you can use it, you can interpret it yourself, but again, that's actually not a requirement to do. To answer the question, the actual answer is, it comes down to customer requirements. You can go to a customer and they say, I will want to see your evidence for 14971, 13485, 623, whatever you want to have. And you will have to show compliance to that. Those requirements are not the same as a notified body or regulatory authority requirement. Also, for example, if you go to the NHS, you can go to their central supply chain agency, and you can complete a DPST, which is the Digital Protection Toolkit assessment for your software. So it tells you, it goes through all your data protection standards, it goes through the development and everything else. You show compliance to that, to the central authority. But when you go to a trust of the NHS, they will also require a lot more additional information because it turns out the trusts don't trust the DSPT toolkit. So you've complied with one set to actually be put on a listing for the NHS, and then you have to comply with another whole set of information for the actual customer trust itself. I don't know if I've really answered your question now. I think I've just answered or presented the problem, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Anything to add, Miguel?
No, quickly on this side, the challenge boils down to the notified body, and this is a big issue with the MDR in Europe, and what Oliver was presenting on this piece of not having a centralized body is to whom do you speak with? Because the issues with notified bodies. We have now the UK with the Brexit that they have notified bodies, but you know what the competent authority of the UK thinks about AI. They have concrete guidelines, and you know that their notified bodies need to comply with those guidelines. The truth is, in Europe, with even in MDCG, you have some competent authorities saying that we don't agree with that, or that is not enough for us. So it means that they are notified bodies, because the notified bodies are managed or regulated by their national competent authorities, may lead to different interpretations when there is no standards or guidelines in this at this level. And honestly, unless we have harmonized standards of AI coming quickly, we'll face the next 5-6 years of quite lost in confusion what to follow. And I was speaking the other day with a small notified body and discussing about these challenges, and they say we look to the FDA. For us, the good machine learning practice are a good piece of guidance and set the expectation what we want to see. And again, for me, this boils down more to the engineering part. Is how can you show that you really did things in a way that is the state of the art, and the state of the art is looking to different standards, and what is the core fundamentals that they do, and probably choose one where you can say, okay, we follow this one more specifically. But then you like risk. You have many standards about risk for AI. For me, those are still state of art. You should look to the examples, what they recommend, and try to see if it applies to your product or not. So it's not that you're following that standard, but you should, in some way, get from this knowledge that we are getting to make sure that you think about those things. And regulation is all about you showing that you have a methodology and systematic way of going through risks, assess them, and mitigate them to ensure the quality and efficacy, or let's see, performance of your device.